What is up, my sandwich makers, my burrito throwers, and my Jackbox gamers? Welcome back to Getting Baked, the official baked goods podcast. We have a very special episode for you all today. We're going to be talking about the very first video I ever uploaded to YouTube on this channel, and that video is called The Decade Club. That was my final project from my Latin 5 class, my senior year of high school, and basically what the assignment was. It was you had to make some sort of representation of a goodbye to Latin. Everyone in that class had been taking Latin for 8 years, and it was the end of my Latin journey. At least some of us continued taking Latin in college, like my idiot friend Ben. Regardless, you had to say goodbye to Latin somehow, and what I thought of a medium for this goodbye was essentially making some sort of parody, mockumentary, akin to The Office, something of that sort about Latin, because my 4 years of Latin, some shit went down at my high school, and I thought it would be a really interesting way to say goodbye, just to basically make fun of all my teachers. So what I'm going to be doing is playing the video here and stopping it and analyzing and explaining some key moments from it, because a lot of the jokes you don't get if you weren't in Latin with me in high school, which I'm sure many of you weren't. So I've gotten requests for explanations of all this nonsense, and that's what this podcast will be all about. So without further ado, I'm going to start explaining the Decade Club now. So to kick the Decade Club off, I wasn't fucking around. I came out with a very heavy-hitting scene. If you've ever seen Gus Johnson's parody of The Office, this scene is an exact, almost shot-for-shot replica of that scene. So I'm just going to let the scene play, and I'll put a link to Gus Johnson's video in the description so you can compare how similar they actually are.
Oh me, oh my, I wonder what tomfoolery and shan hooligans are going down in my Latin 5 class of mine today in the USA today. Hey Latin 5, are you guys gonna get any work done today at all?
So the poor soul you see on your screen now is Miss Richards, and she was tasked with coming in to our class around mid-October, late October, sometime around Halloween, because as you will see later in this video, our original Latin teacher for our class just booted out after about a month and a half. And she came in and was tasked with getting a class of 16 seniors to do work. Needless to say, she didn't.
I don't know, Miss Richards, I don't think we're gonna get any work done today.
So the picture for Latin 5 is Beyonce, because another one of our teachers really likes Beyonce. Also, if you weren't aware, I do all the voice acting for this video. Mr. Hines' favorite word to say was eheu, which meant alas in Latin. So this is a parody of the Office theme song, obviously with a bass boosted version of the theme song. And in this you will find various memes about our teacher, pictures of Adam with Eric making a funny face behind him. It's just a bunch of nonsense. So this is a meme that I unfortunately did not have the pleasure of making. It is essentially making fun of the fact that Dr. K would come up with different ways of saying the word no. So obviously here, someone asks him a question about the test the next day, and he says, no vocabs, no dates. So essentially, you don't know if he's saying no N-O or no K-N-O-W. This will come up later in this video. So the reason why this video is called The Decade Club, and arguably the funniest moment of the year, was that Dr. K had tenure at my high school. He was a Latin teacher there for a long while, and so after his first decade, I shouldn't say first because it was probably his only decade. After he worked there for a decade, he got an award essentially, and it was a piece of paper, and it said the Decade Club on it with a bunch of other bullshit written somewhere, and it was framed and it was hung above our whiteboard. And after he left, the picture, or the award I should say, stayed up there for about 4 more months until at the start of second semester he came back and took it. And so after he took it, I noticed it was missing, so I wrote the Decade Club on a piece of paper and put it where the old one used to be. And so when we were thinking of what we were going to name this project, I was like, Doi, the Decade Club. And thus, the meme was born.
I would tell you my biggest fears. I am deathly afraid of cranes of any sort. These terrifying creatures are nature's perfect example and reminder that death can come at any time.
So right off the bat, a good thing to know is that any quote from Dr. K in this project was probably something that he actually said, including this crane quote. There was construction going on at our high school, and they were building an elevator right behind where our Latin classroom was. So there was a crane there for a while outside, and he wanted part of the crane to come smashing in through the window and hit him, debilitating him so that he wouldn't have to teach and he would get paid time off for his injury.
Well, that's really interesting. I also make my own memes. I run the Latin Club here, and when people don't come to Latin Club, I get really mad and make my own memes about people coming to Latin Club.
So he was the club leader for Latin Club, which gets unfairly slammed several times in this video, and he did make his own memes about people not coming to Latin Club, specifically this "why you know come to Latin Club" meme.
As you can see, I use the classic N-O no instead of some of my other spellings. I just think the classic no is just the best fit for just conveying the message.
So it's kind of hard to see, but there are a few variations of what he would say for no on that post-it note, which I will put on the screen because it's kind of hard to read. My favorite one specifically is the last one, N-O, which was a lake in Sudan. So sometimes you would ask him to use the bathroom, and he would say, "No, the lake in Sudan. Go use the bathroom." Jesus, this guy's crazy. So this is a quote that Miss Carrie Smith, my favorite Latin teacher of all time, would often say, usually to the point of exhaustion, and overlaid this quote is the enemy of Latin, Spanish music.
Hey, Dr. K, can I talk to you about the test you had last week? It seems that no one in your class got above a 75 on it.
This was the first exam, and yes, that did actually happen.
Well.
Instead of answering questions in class sometimes, he would just respond with a drawn-out, well.
Excuse me? Are you saying whale? I have no feelings.
something a teacher at a high school with a PhD actually said.
Latin zone.
Another example of something crazy Dr. K said is this quote up here. And this song was used in a senior's video when I was a junior that heavily inspired me. And my friend Adam was sick the entire time we did this project. So he didn't help at all, except I asked him to send me a recording of him saying Latin zone. And that is the voice you hear over that. Thank you, Adam. You heavily contributed to getting a 100 on this project.
I feel like a meme on the internet.
This was a meta joke about how that picture of Dr. K holding a mask actually was a meme on the internet.
Hey freshies, who wants to get married?
This was a reference to how Mr. Hines was the teacher at the Northfield campus instead of the Winnetka campus. Basically, how my high school worked is there were two campuses, one for sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and one for freshmen. And the Latin teachers all rotated between who taught at the freshman campus every 4 years. And so my senior year, Mr. Hines was at the freshman campus. And something he did when he was my teacher sophomore year was we reenacted a wedding and my phone went off. It's alright, I've recorded enough audio for me to want to redo that, so I'm just going to leave that in. We reenacted a wedding from the textbook we were using, and it was so awkward. So the joke from that skit was that Mr. Hines was going to make all the freshmen reenact the wedding so that none of them would go into Latin as sophomores. Mr. Hines loved propaganda, so we just threw in the Soviet Union national anthem for shits and giggles.
Hello everyone, welcome to our first meeting of Latin Club. Let's take attendance and see who showed up.
God damn it.
So this was an unfair jab at Latin Club, the joke here being that no one goes to Latin Club. This is the one time, I swear, during this project, and you can hear me start laughing as we were recording it, and my teacher did yell at me for putting that in this video.
I want to learn Latin.
The song overlaid here is probably the greatest Latin song ever. I think it's going over the past tense verb endings, and then the guy says, I want to learn Latin, and it's really cool. This picture is of my dog from when I used her in a video project my junior year of Latin.
I love Latin connections, don't you? Mr. Hines, is my mask a Latin connection?
No.
What? But it's an Indian mask. Native American!
This distinction was one that Mr. Hines loved to correct people on, and again, his favorite word, ehu. Miss Seifert dyed her hair, so this is something she probably said at some point in time. And again, the greatest enemy of Latin, Spanish music.
Alright, Latin 5, who's ready to learn some poetry today? Today I got someone by the name of Catalyst to learn from today. Percy Jackson Gone Girl, Percy Jackson Gone Girl, Percy Jackson.
There was at some point during the semester where Miss Richards told us we could watch a movie. So the first movie we suggested was Gone Girl, when she denied that request because that is a wildly inappropriate movie to watch in school. We wanted to watch Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Needless to say, we never watched either of those movies.
Gone Girl, Percy Jackson Gone Girl, Percy Jackson Gone Girl, Percy Jackson Gone Girl, Percy Jackson.
Another quote someone I cannot believe was paid to teach me said, followed by the greatest song in existence.
Hey, Dr. K, can I talk to you about something? How come we had 0 attendance at Latin Club last week?
Another unfair jab at Latin Club. And this scene is about 2 minutes, and everything that Dr. K, or at least the printout picture of Dr. K, says in this scene is something that he actually said in real life. Keep that in mind.
Well, you see, I think we should just structure the club differently, because if we get pizza, that'll attract more people. But if there's free pizza, people will come just for the pizza and then leave after they get their pizza. So, we should get our budget expanded so that we can get 2 pizzas. One for the club and one for the people who come and just want pizza. So then, the people who get the pizza and leave are happy because they get pizza, and then they leave. But the people who want to stay in the club get pizza. Or we could get our budget expanded to just give people money, because that's basically what we're doing when we give people pizza. We're just giving them free money. And another thing, I think we should get our grading systems changed, because it's really hard for me to grade while watching football with my dog on my lap. So I want to outsource my grading to Botswana, because I think the people there do a really good job and they could really change things. Did I ever tell you that I make the best PowerPoints? I make the best PowerPoints. I also have the greatest interpretive dance ever, but if you want to see it, you should probably talk to my agent. You know what? I think it's time. I think it's time I leave this school and go to Botswana, where I can finally achieve my dreams.
Now, I'm not sure if he actually went to Botswana or not, but this is representative of when he just left the school and never came back in about mid to late October. And here he is coming back to take the Decade Club sign from us. Big sad. And last but not least, and just like that, the Decade Club ends. The curtains close, the audience applauds, Miss Richards gives me a 100, and I walk into the sunset, a high school graduate, furthered in life. And my journey in Latin came to a close. I'm tearing up just thinking about it. Thank you everyone for watching or listening to my podcast. This was a video a long time in the making. The Decade Club is something very special and near and dear to my heart. I'm very proud of it. It is my first video. It is my best video. I will put a link to it in the description if you want to go watch it unedited all the way through with no breaks, no pauses, no commentary. Like I said before, thank you for watching and listening. I'll see you on the other side of the tundra of Latin, my snow leopards. Peace.